Hey everybody, this is Chris DeFirio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco. They've been making espresso machines by hand in Florence since 1927. And for all that time, they have been innovating and creating some of the world's most beautiful espresso machines. La Marzocco is a household name when you talk about coffee shops, and some of the best coffee bars around the world rely on them at the heart of their business. Again, machines like the KB90 espresso machine with straight-in locking portafilters for ergonomics, scales in the drip tray for accuracy of your extractions. You've got the auto flush feature in the group heads for cleanliness and workflow. Just one example of many different types of machines that fit your needs exactly. Reach out to info@lamarzocousa.com and they will get you set up with the right equipment for your needs. And also check out their website, lamarzocousa.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Espressly, who's creating custom branded mobile apps for your cafe. It is like having your brand in the palm of the customer's hand. This is the perfect marriage of convenience and culture, and it makes a big difference for your customer. When you get a custom branded mobile app from Espressly, it's a no-risk model. There's no setup or development fees. You get a drive-through payment scanner, receipt and label printing capabilities. All the data is stored in the app, and it integrates with some of the best payment processing systems out there, including Square. So I want to encourage you, if you're on the fence or you're decided, I want to get an app for my business, have a conversation with them and have them get started on your app as soon as possible. In order to do that, just visit their website, espressly.co. That's espressly.co. Okay, everybody. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about frameworks a little bit, and also just 3 questions to ask yourself when you're thinking about adding something or taking on a project, when you're buying things, when you're promoting a barista to a position and that kind of thing. These are 3 questions that I think you need to ask yourself, because often what happens when we make decisions is that we're not even really taking time to think through them. We feel the need, and that presence of that need, that pressure of getting that solved, makes us react. See, we're not creating space, we're reacting to space. And as you've heard me say on the show before, the words creating and reacting all share the same letters. It's just when you're creating, things are arranged in the right way. Okay, so don't react only to things, but create space to ask these questions so that you can respond to them, and it will serve you better. So one of the first questions you can ask yourself, if it's about a menu item, a promotion, a project, anything, is how does this serve our staff? Now, you might have thought maybe I would say, how would this serve our customers? And it's a fine line, really. I have definitely subscribed to the idea that if you take care of your staff well, and I'm not just talking about pizza parties and high five emojis here. I'm talking about, compensation. I'm talking about clarity in expectation, resourcing, training, time, presence, all the stuff that Keys to the Shop hammers on again and again on the show. That staff is more likely to take care, A, of each other, B, of your customers. Okay, they're going to take care of your business. You need to stay open. You need to be profitable. You need to make a lot of money. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that, because you can do great things with money. And one of the things that we have to make sure of, though, is that our staff know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are their advocates, that we are doing what we can, not just what we can get away with. I'm a big advocate for being transparent with your staff and showing them the what, the how, the details, and it really boils down to trust. And so if you are constantly asking yourself the question, how does this serve the needs of our staff? Then you will answer that question more and more accurately the more you get to know your staff, the more in tune you are, the more present you are with them. And you can see also not just individual needs, but you can see collective needs as well. Because one barista might prefer this, one barista might prefer that, but the team needs something different. And in serving the team sometimes, rather than the individual only, you can really accomplish great things. So there's all of these different things that go into how does this serve our staff, but it requires that you are there to actually have the feel and conversation and trust-based relationship with them in order to answer that. And if you can answer that question and say, yes, this serves them in this way, it helps them do their job, it gives them more pride in work, it compensates them more for a job that has, let's be frank, evolved to include more than it used to, but we're still paying the same. That's a big problem in coffee, of course. Any number of those examples. If you can answer that question accurately and then proceed forward, you'll have made a better decision. The reverse is true also. If it doesn't benefit them at all, then I can't really think of, why you should put that in place. Slowing down to ask these questions, like I said, is really important. And I bet you there's a few things that we've done in the business that had we asked this, maybe we wouldn't have put it in. Maybe at least not at that time. There could be things that are more important. So maybe you can even add something else to these. How does this serve our staff at this time? Is this the most important thing that we can be doing right now? And why? You got to ask this stuff. So the other question is, how does this serve the needs of our customers and our customer experience? You got to draw a line between your decisions and the overall impact it has on what customers are going to experience. Now, there's some things that you can introduce that initially may result in what might look like a negative on customer experiences. If you have to raise prices, if you have to change menu items, if you have to change locations and things. And often we procrastinate on making decisions like those because we feel like it's going to have this immediate negative impact. But we have to think about what's going to happen down the road. Is this going to overall contribute to a better experience because we are raising our prices so that we can stay in business to serve people longer? That is a net gain for our customers, right? So we can say, yes, this actually serves the needs of our customers. You can get really simple with this and say, fixing that table obviously serves the need of our customers. Having a more concrete training program for how hospitality is done in the cafe serves the need of our customers. But how does it serve it? Draw the line between outcomes that you can predict will happen as a result of this. And once you make that decision, again, you're going to have more peace of mind, but you're also going to have more invested into it than just a whim or some reactive decision, which means you're going to follow up with it. You're going to have more ownership over the process of execution and the results and the refinement, all of that. The last question you can ask yourself related to this would be, does this make business sense in the long run? So if you are like me and you are plugged into a lot of different channels, so to speak, in coffee, you've got a flood of different examples of coffee shops and their menus and ideas, and it's all to music. It's all high resolution, colorful, and it feels like constant FOMO. So we make decisions that are based out of that fear of missing out. And we didn't really ask the question, does this make sense in the long run? This is how you end up with a cafe that's full of junk, full of inventory that's not moving, full of old stuff and syrups and sauces and ingredients and powders and mixes that you thought, I really should try this. I should try that. And it starts to become this supermarket sweep, if any of you are old enough to know what that is. A game show where carts get filled with stuff, right? We fill our coffee shops with stuff, and we do this with rolls in the coffee shop too. We'll add rolls to our coffee shop because we think we need to, and it's out of desperation and reactivity. And so, does this make business sense in the long run requires you to know what your long run goal is. So you see, by asking a question, it forces you to think about maybe a few other things in order to get an actual answer to the question that is an honest one. An honest answer to these questions is not one that you immediately say, of course, I feel like this would be good, so therefore it is good. You got to kind of distrust that initial feeling and do the due diligence and getting out ahead of that feeling and exploring these related questions. This is what good businesses are built on. And the more you flex this muscle of asking questions like this as you make decisions throughout the day, then I think you're going to see a lot of fruits because you're going to take care of not only the business's needs, but the people that are involved in the business as well, your staff and your customers and your own. So I hope that this was a very helpful episode for you today. If you are going to be, by the way, going to Coffee Fest in Anaheim, California, coming up next week, in fact, basically next week, this is the 6th through the 8th, be sure to look me up there. Say hello. I'll have a booth. I'll be giving a couple of talks, judging latte art, all that fun stuff. So can't wait to see you all there. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. Don't forget to share these episodes on social media. Follow Keys to the Shop on Instagram at Keys to the Shop, and also subscribe to the show. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break. From Keys to the Shop.